Hi, this is just a quick update on the experimental work we've been doing using Open Annotation Server as a way to augment digital artifacts in cultural heritage systems. We've got a project called crowdcat, which is the place we're working on this stuff, and crowdcat as an application combines two things: a management interface and then embedded within that currently there's an annotation server, which is the Open Annotations Protocol, or a very rough implementation of the standard. In reality, those two things will be very much separated out, but it's convenient for this test platform to have them both in the same instance. And I thought I'd throw together a quick video that just explained how all this fits together. So I'm running the annotation engine here in this console over on the right, and I've also got here my Sparkle query editor, which is running in a web browser, and you'll see that I've pasted in here this query from the README. And this query is the query which is currently driving the display of annotations. So if I go over to the application, currently we've got some admin stuff over here, so we can define collections and we can define projects. But then over on the right hand side we've embedded the viewer that we're going to use to try and create and show annotations. This is more of a administrative interface than an end user one, where we'd probably use perhaps a different viewer. We've configured this resource viewer with some assets in the background that have been loaded from various manifests, and I can load one here. So you'll see we've got a digital artifact here, and if I start up the console in the browser, you'll see quite a lot of debug output where we're loading annotations for the Open Annotation Server and then converting them into a format we can use internally. I'll just close that for now. In Sparkle, if I run this query, you'll see that currently Sparkle thinks we have 4 annotations against this resource. So we've got one that says Daniel Jones, one that has a number 10, notice of claim by employer, and John Daniel Jones. And if I go back to the viewer and switch on the annotations interface, we should see those annotations that were loaded from the Sparkle endpoint. But of course that's that states that we set it before. So what we're going to do is we're going to just zoom in here, and let's say we want occupation. So I'm just going to use a regular rectangle. All the other annotation forms work, but this is just convenient. So apparently John Daniel Jones was a tailor. What we're thinking of doing is extending this dialog with a list of drop downs so that we can have proper defined properties, like for example, if we wanted to set up a profile for a tested man, as it would be here, we'd be able to set up a proper semantic name property and include that in the annotation. So we'd be able to say, here I'm marking up the name of the attested man, and obviously that's just an example for this particular profile. But if we were describing, weapons, for example, for the National Armouries, we might create a profile for describing weapons. So I'm going to save that there. And what's happened is, you'll see over in the right there the log. This is quite interesting. This is the annotation expressed as N3 as triples, and here you've got just the data about the annotation. So you see it's appeared in the interface here as Taylor, but of course the more interesting thing is if I go back and I rerun this query, hopefully we've got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here you can see my Taylor annotations appeared. So that's in the database, and obviously what we'd really like is if we just clear out and start again here, as if we'd come in for the first time, switch the annotations on, and now we've got our Taylor annotation as well. And what's really important to note about this is that the serving up of the artifact and the application and the annotations are all 3 logically distinct sources. So in theory we could have a drop down up here that says, for example, the kint annotation server. So if we wanted to be able to annotate web resources but not have those public, we could do that, and we could switch between a private annotation server and a public annotation server, or any different number of annotation servers. So there's quite a lot of opportunity there. The other thing we've been discussing is whether or not we could actually put a facade in front of a IIIF server that would automatically embed annotations in a IIIF manifest, so that you could publish manifests with annotations automatically embedded within them, but without actually storing them containing the annotations, which again would let you change the annotation source that you're using for a particular rendering. Some of the other things that are quite good fun, there's quite a lot of sample sparkle here that you can play with. If I go down to this is probably the most voluminous query. Yeah, so you can see you start to get more of a feel for how the thing actually looks when it's expressed as triples. There's quite a lot. I mean, for the 5 annotations, you can see that we've got quite a lot of properties. Obviously, each one has a source. Yeah, so there's some quite good fun things going on here, and it's definitely worth playing with. I'm quite excited about some of the possibilities for ways for enriching cultural collections and getting volunteers and supported feedback. So yeah, any questions, please email them to the project, and feel free to contribute, because it's all open source and we're just seeing what we can do with it. Okay, bye.